Sally confronts Chelsea, and Adam issues a stern warning to Nick. On today's episode of The Young and the Restless, Victor promises to defend his family, Sharon and Sally talk about moving on from Adam, and Chance's attitude dampens Dom's birthday celebrations. Sally, still in amazement, peers through the door at Adam as he thanks Chelsea at Crimson Lights for her input on whether or not to accept Jack's offer. As she enters, she greets the group with a cheery, "Hi guys." "Hi, how are you doing?" Adam turns and asks, "Sally, what's going on?" When she begins praising Chelsea's show, Sally claims she is only being polite and walks away from their conversation. Chelsea, to whom Adam profusely apologizes, responds, "She doesn't fear me." Adam laughs to himself, remembering how tough she can be. After Chelsea urged him to contact Jack, he left. Sally walks confidently over to the booth occupied by Chelsea. "You didn't waste any time, that's for sure." Because Adam no longer looks at her with affection, Sally is plainly sad, according to Chelsea's sniffles. "It's obvious your relationship was built on sexual desire." And angry Sally declares, "What Adam and I shared was incredibly special." That's when Chelsea fires back, "To you." She tells the brunette that her relationship with Adam has lasted a whole year, and that they are now parents. Now that things have settled down, she has no intention of letting Sally disrupt their happiness. She has no right to pry into her and Adam's personal lives, regardless of the nature of their relationship. Sharon walks in as Chelsea storms out. "It's really tough to say goodbye to him, isn't it?" Victoria explains to Nick at Newman Enterprises that they need to find a strategy to thwart Adam. Adam is clearly on the offensive as Nick and their father saw him at society. Apparently, Sally is the missing piece in Victoria's mind. So long as Adam believes she is on his side, they can buy some time by having her promise to run his piece. Nick exclaims angrily, "So you want to use Sally as a pawn?" "Yes, sir." Since Sally has always been devoted to the Newman family, Nick sees no reason to involve her in the conflict, and Victoria concludes that he is correct. Nick warns that things will get hard and messy for her because she is still grieving her loss. Victoria will do anything in her power to keep her brother and father safe. Nick complains that he doesn't need guarding, but he's beginning to see Adam's point of view. Together with Mariah, Tessa, Devin, Chance, and Abby, they are celebrating Dom's first birthday in the park. Abby says that the group is going to create a time capsule for the child in which they would include their favorite memories from Devin's first year, and they all make fun of him over his enormous gift. Chance seemed to be preoccupied. Abby, after some deliberation, finally decides that everyone should peruse theirs. After reading theirs, Maria and Tessa had the idea to include sonogram photographs in the capsule. Devin looks at his, which reminds him of when he was born. Maria is relieved that he didn't mention the crazed kidnapper. Abby says her favorite time with him was when his dad returned home. That's also one of Chance's fondest recollections. Tessa and Mariah deposit their hopes and dreams for Dom in the capsule, and then inform the others that they must depart. They are needed at Marchetti to deliver the new face of Marchetti. Davin adds that Tessa's fans are rooting for her to come back to doing what she does best as quickly as possible, and that everyone sends their best wishes. Abby, after Chance and she are alone, asks him whether the time capsule idea bothered him or if something else is amiss, because he has been unusually silent all afternoon. Victoria at Newman asks Nick to clarify what he means by claiming he gets Adam. Nick understands how hard he is fighting the impulse to teach Victor a lesson every time he interferes. Victoria has had it up to here with Adam's constant outbursts after suffering a minor ego blow. Nick isn't trying to justify him, but he does understand his reasoning. Both he and she had been in situations where they didn't want their father's support, but ended up needing it anyhow. Victoria maintains that they are not Adam-like. "It's too bad he regressed," Nick says. "He liked the new Adam." At one point, Victoria snarls, "The new Adam is a fairy tale." I never got into his supposed change of heart, and now I see that he's back to trying to print lies about our dad in the newspaper. Nick says it's not slander if it's true. When Victor finally shows up, the fight is done. He will deal with Adam's threats. For Victor, it's time to throw a party and close the book on that terrible chapter. Sally feels ashamed after being corrected by Chelsea at Crimson Lights. Sharon says the redhead is easy to provoke, and she wonders if it's Adam or herself. To distance herself from him, Sally is making an effort to do so. The pain is all too familiar to Sharon. When Sally expresses doubt, she reassures her. This is something I can attest to since I am living proof of it. Sally says that he eventually confessed the real reason for their breakup, but that just served to reopen old wounds. Too much hurt was done by him for us to go back. It's implied he doesn't trust her enough to accompany him on his new route, and Sharon finds out he's after his father again. Sharon feels confident that Adam did not want her to become Victor's target. Sally shrugs. Maybe he was looking out for me, but that's irrelevant because there's no getting around his daddy concerns. Sharon had already warned her, and this time it will stick. Adam's primary relationship is and always will be with Victor. Adam makes a voicemail for Jack to return his call from outside of society. He hangs up and begins to walk inside when he overhears Victoria, and Nick toasting each other at a nearby table. Victor gushes inside about his two children. He and Nikki running Newman Enterprises are his favorite thing ever. In celebration of Ashlyn Locke's inclusion in the annals of time, they raise a glass. Nick seemed to be in distress. Adam strolls up and realizes he can talk to everyone at once. He declares that he will be paying for their meal. Victoria asks him why he wants to start fighting with the family again. With the support of a close friend, Adam has come to terms with his life and decided against seeking retribution. Victoria informs Nick and Victor that she doesn't believe them, and he leaves. Victor says he will take care of the situation. Chance reassures Abby at their birthday picnic in the park that he wasn't unhappy about anything. When he was silent, she questioned his silence. Chance is reluctant to discuss it, but she presses the issue. Chance says he's still nervous about putting an end to the Ashland murder inquiry. As far as Abby was concerned, he had finally settled the issue. Chance keeps replaying the scene in his head. To make sense of his choice, he tries to weigh the pros and cons. Abby says he did the right thing and that her family is really appreciative. Chance points out that she is the only one he can confide in about this. He can't exactly walk around town announcing, "Well, my father-in-law committed a crime, and I'm having difficulties letting it go." Abby is unhappy about how this is affecting her spouse and their relationship. She says, "Are you having second thoughts?" implying that she didn't mean to sway her opinion. Chance assures her that everything will be fine and then takes a phone call. After listening for a while, he hangs up and tells Abby he has to talk to a source regarding Ray's final unsolved case. Abby is sad and wants him to assure her that they will be on their way shortly. His mind is going to ponder the idea. Before leaving, Chance gives her and Dom a passionate kiss. When Devin comes back to get his tablet, he sees that Abby is visibly upset. She had hoped to spend more time than she did with Chance due to the day's events, but he had to go for a case. Abby is totally consumed by his profession, he says. Surely that indicates that something is off or not right. Because of her upbringing, she knows the importance of putting loved ones before everything else. As Devin puts it, Neil instilled in him the same values. He says Chance is head over heels for her and Abby, but he can't have them since he's physically incapable of doing so. He values his family and friends, but he also places a high value on standing up for what he thinks is right. She needs to realize that. Abby says it's challenging at times because her dad always prioritized his family. It's no secret to Devin that Chance has feelings for both her and Dominic. The two of you are at the top of his list. Abby gives Devin a hug of thanks, but she appears distressed. At Crimson Lights, Sharon had faith that Adam's love for Sally would outlast his hatred of Victor, but Adam is back on his own. Sally asks, "How do you handle it?" Because she hates being alone. She hastily apologizes, but Sharon reassures her that alone and lonely are two quite different states of mind. Although she enjoys spending time with her loved ones, she also values her alone time. This perspective is very appealing to Sally. Perhaps she will succeed one day. Sharon elaborates by saying that she feels protected because of her friends and family. Like Nick, Sally quips, to which Sharon agrees. He fits within that category. Sally imagines it must be good to have a former flame who is no longer an adversary. Sharon believes she is fortunate to have found Nick, who she describes as a good man. Nick approaches Adam at the bar at Society after Victor and Victoria had left. "Is this realization for real?" he inquires. That's what Adam says, and Nick is curious by the sudden change. Adam spoke with a person who made him realize he was making the wrong decision. Nick wonders if he should simply accept him at his word. Adam acknowledges that his brother is free to think anything he wants, but he wants him to know that he has been nothing but fair to him ever since Faith's accident. As in, it all goes back to Dad. Nick warns Adam that he risks harming himself if he changes his mind and uses the information he has gathered about Ashlyn's death as a weapon. Adam advises him to stop fretting over himself and start worrying about Victor betraying him instead. Nick explains to Victor what happened the night he killed Ashland and implies that Victor's actions demonstrate just how far he would go to protect them. "That includes you as well, Adam. I hope you can let go of some of that anger." Adam does as well, but he has no idea when this will actually occur. He assures Nick that he's pulling back and looking for an alternate route. Nick hopes fervently that this is the case. While Chelsea is out at the rooftop bar, she receives an email from Billy containing a sobbing emoji. He has sent her the recording of their final podcast. She listens to him, claim that endings can lead to fresh starts, then she switches off the music and stews. She allows herself a moment of sobbing before calling Connor to express how much she misses him. Tessa and Mariah both tell Sharon about their first days of work and Dom's first birthday party at Crimson Lights. They decided they couldn't stand to wait any longer and are going to start the adoption process over again. Because of this, Sharon gives a big hug to everyone. When Victoria jokes that her champagne buzz would make it difficult for her to review the reports at Newman, Victor chuckles to himself. Victor tells her he did some agreements while under the influence of a few tequilas at the office years ago. She begins laughing, but quickly becomes serious as she embraces him and expresses gratitude for the help he provided that night. They say how they feel about one another. "I hope her brothers feel the same way, Victor." Victoria understands Adam's mental state better than she understands Nick's, but she still thinks Nick does deep down. Even if it means protecting them from a member of their own family, Victor says he will do it. During a conversation with Nick at Society, Adam explains that he believes Victor's decision to conceal the deaths of AJ Montalvo and Locke impeded their ability to come to terms with their conduct. It was an accident and it was self-defense, but they avoided dealing with the consequences. "I don't know about you, but it meant that I had to bury all of these feelings of killing a man deep within my mind," he said. Although Victor meant well, his words amounted to, "You did something wrong," when he should have been offering assistance. He was shaped into who he is today by years of suppressing his emotions. Asking, "Is that what you want, Nick?"